at the door. And bring in Drew Blazsik, Professor Drew Blazsik, in studio right now to talk about faith in finance. Good morning, Drew.
Good morning.
Drew, I know
how's it going?
I know you've got a lot to talk about. I've got questions.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting, and I know you've got some stuff to talk about. It is interesting that we are economy-focused right now, and a lot of people are learning a lot about the things that affect our economy because of certain moves that President Trump is doing. Just like we learned a lot about inflation and all the things that affected it back in the days of Reagan, when it takes a minute, to turn a ship around. But in any case, it's fascinating that right now those things are big in the news. I mean, the particulars, like we're learning new words and new things, and you're ahead of the curve for us. Thank you.
Probably the big one is they're talking about maybe auditing the Fed.
Yeah.
They talk about. I don't know if they can because it's a private institution. That's how they get away with it. If they're a public institution, you can audit them, but they claim they're a private, and that's how it was set up.
I would just say this, that most of the people in the federal government belong in an institution. Is that the same? Yeah.
Maybe they could.
I'm sorry.
Plus, just saying it kind of puts the spotlight on their actions and what's going on and everything. And even though they're not officially, they're untouchable.
One of my friends said, when Trump gets in, they're going to try to reverse the Federal Reserve Act.
Oh yeah.
I was like, there's no way, but they're kind of talking about stuff. I don't know if that's possible. You'd have to have a lot of political. I mean, that'd be very difficult, my opinion. But maybe they could. I mean, he's going 100 miles an hour right now.
Yeah, but tell us kind of what is he doing that you think is kind of heading in the right direction? Any red flags for you? I
just like the spending aspect. I like how they're trying to look at all the garbage that we're spending money on. And I think the Federal Reserve, that's the big linchpin. Like people, I go to these conservative political breakfasts or lunches, and they all talk about, we need a balanced budget. One thing you got to understand, it's impossible to have a balanced budget with our monetary system. You can't have it. Now, you could do it for a little bit, but it's designed to go in more debt. You have to go in more debt to create more money. So people don't understand that you have to change the monetary system, the Federal Reserve. But I heard Trump mention that a couple times.
Let me ask you this, because I did to you what I often do to Mr. Finn. I got us off the tracks before we even got started. So I know you've got some things to talk about, and I want to let you open, get to some of that other than my queries, which I'm curious as I'm watching some of this unfold.
I mean, we learned about tariffs, we're learning about the Fed, we're learning about a lot of things, spending, which is good stuff. I think
70% tariffs from India has been that way forever, and it's like, who ever allowed this fact that India would charge a 70% tariff on our goods and we don't reciprocate?
We get killed with that.
Yeah. And I learned a new word, which means reciprocate, which I think means, I know they use it a lot. No, I'm just kidding. I love that he is making all things even. Personally, I think that's a good idea, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
I think what happened was the reason why they had those high tariffs is because after World War II, they tried to get the economies going in those other countries, and they had the Marshall Plan. So what they said was, we'll import your goods, get your economy going, and then you could tax us. But they never, merciful thing. They never changed it. That was the problem. Yeah. But no, I got it. We don't have much time, but I got a couple things.
Yeah, you got a couple minutes.
Oh yeah,
I took most of your time.
Hey, no, but it's good stuff. Great stuff. But there's a great investment thing. They say be optimistic.
Yeah.
But only the paranoid survive. And it kind of goes in with
I like that.
It kind of goes in with the quote. So I got some data here. This is a few months old, so this is before Trump got in. But the Federal Reserve claims there's a 0% chance of a recession. 84% of CEOs say there is going to be a recession.
But they say a 0% chance.
And here's some interesting stats here. The stock market is dependent on the Magnificent Seven. You know who they are? So these are the biggest companies in the world, which are Meta, NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, which is Google, Amazon, and Tesla. That makes up almost a third of the S&P 500.
Now, this is what's crazy. None of those companies existed 15 years ago or 20 years ago. And our economy is completely based on them?
Just Apple and Microsoft.
Yeah. But, I mean, in their infancy, really. Now, you look at the rest of them, they're all modern companies, I guess I would say. Back in the day, it would have been the automakers and the coal companies and all that. But now it's completely
Now it's a third of our economy.
Oh, my goodness.
But a couple months ago, if you took those companies away, the entire market is down.
Oh my God!
Wow.
So the small and mid cap companies are struggling, showing the market strength is misleading in that regard. Another thing you got to look at with our economy: the Fed raised rates by 4.88%, faster than ever in the history of the Fed. So they did it in such a short period of time, which now that's going to affect debt, which goes directly into U.S. credit card debt is at $1 trillion, which means, and it's not just the trillion, it's at the highest interest rate level of all time too. So you got credit card debts that are expanding plus the historic actual rates on it. And then we have missed payments are increasing, signaling defaults. Student loan payments are going to come up pretty soon.
Wow.
So that's coming up pretty soon. Biden tried to eliminate it. I don't know what he was doing. He was just kind of saying, "Oh yeah, by the pen," but nothing happened there. Now this is a big one. Corporate debt crisis is looming. Companies took out low interest rates a couple years ago. Now they're going to have to over 1.1 trillion of corporate debt will have to mature in 2025. That means they have to get new debt, which is going to be very high interest rates.
So they were able to do that during the pandemic.
Anywhere. I mean, we had low interest rates for a long time, and now they're going up.
Right. Yeah.
When Trump was first into office, interest rates went up. Before that, we had 10 years of very low interest rates.
Right.
So we're going to have. It looks like it's going to rise to 1.3 trillion by 2028. A couple other examples. Our national debt, it was at 33 trillion, and I think it's like 34 trillion now. Here's an interesting one. Every 1% interest rate increase adds about 320 billion in extra costs per year.
Oh my goodness.
So we were at, all those bonds are maturing now with the national debt.
Yeah.
So they were at very low interest rates, and now they're at 5-6%. So every 1% is going to add that just on interest.
So what's the answer? What anything if
be prepared. Don't go into debt. Don't go into debt. Be prepared. Got to watch out for inflation and make sure your money's in a safe asset that it doesn't devalue over time.
Hey, real quickly, Taylor Swift, if you can get her into your town, she brings about $100 million worth of revenue into a city. When I visit, I bring $27.50 because I use coupons. You know, I'm going to coupon you to death. You know, and so $27.50 if I come to town, $150 million if Taylor Swift comes. She doesn't use coupons.
That's wrong.
That's the problem.
This is wrong.
Yeah.
Professor Drew Blazsik, once again.
Thank you, Drew.
Very enlightening. Thank you
Do you use
so much.
coupons?
Me?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I don't know where I leave them.
He's anti-coupon. There we go. Thank you, Drew.